The target. 18 assassination attempts in 2 years. That's what social media claims about Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 37-year-old soldier who dared to kick France out of Burkina Faso and pivot toward Russia. If true, we're looking at one attempt every 6 weeks. Every time word spreads of another plot, thousands flood the streets of Ouagadougou, not to protest, to protect. Human shields formed by citizens who refuse to let history repeat itself. The collective prayer echoes across West Africa. Don't you dare take him away from us. They know the pattern. They've seen this movie before. African liberators don't die of old age. The heist. October 2022. Traoré doesn't just stage a coup, he reclaims what was always his people's. While most military leaders play it safe, keeping colonial ties intact, this captain had the audacity to take back what France had been stealing for decades. He nationalized gold mines that had funneled African wealth to European coffers since colonial times. But here's where it gets interesting. General Michael Langley from U.S. Africa Command calls Traoré a warlord who pockets the gold himself. Traoré's supporters fire back. Neocolonial propaganda. The question that haunts every analyst: why is Burkina Faso's gold America's business? It's the height of disrespect, telling a sovereign nation what they can and cannot do in their own country. Maybe America should focus on fixing its own crumbling infrastructure, homelessness crisis, growing protests, deadly weather, and a drug epidemic before deploying probes into other people's backyards. The ghost. Every move Traoré makes is measured against one man, Thomas Sankara, what some call Africa's Che Guevara. The revolutionary president who sold government Mercedes to ride bicycles, who planted trees and championed women's rights. Assassinated in 1987 at age 37, the same age Traoré is now, having taken power when he was younger. The parallels are chilling. Both challenged Western dominance. Both believed Africa could prosper without external validation. But where Sankara's revolution was cut short by an assassin's bullet, Traoré operates in an era where African consciousness has awakened to protect its liberators. It's as if Sankara's ghost found its vessel in this young captain who refuses to bow. The curse of liberation. Africa's graveyard of fallen liberators tells the same story: dream of true independence, and you become a target. The pattern is written in blood across the continent. Patrice Lumumba wanted Congo's vast mineral wealth to benefit Congolese citizens instead of Belgian corporations. Within months of independence in 1960, he was assassinated with Western backing. Today, Congo remains one of the world's poorest countries despite sitting on trillions of dollars in mineral wealth. Children mine cobalt for Western smartphones while their families starve. The joke is cruel. The richest soil on earth produces the poorest people. Thomas Sankara transformed Burkina Faso into a model of self-sufficiency between 1983 to 1987. He increased literacy rates, championed women's rights, and made the country food self-sufficient. His crime? Refusing to bow to France and the World Bank. Assassinated in a coup backed by France, Burkina Faso was immediately returned to Western dependency. For decades, it remained one of the world's poorest nations until Traoré's revolution. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya had the audacity to dream of African unity. He proposed a gold-backed African dinar that would have liberated the continent from Western monetary control. Libya had the highest human development index in Africa, free healthcare, free education, and subsidized housing. His plan for an African development bank threatened to end Western financial dominance. In 2011, NATO bombed Libya back to the Stone Age. Today, Libya is a failed state with slave markets operating openly. The country that once had Africa's highest standard of living now exports chaos and refugees. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana coined the term neocolonialism and pushed for continental African unity. He was overthrown in a CIA-backed coup in 1966 while visiting China. Ghana, once a beacon of African independence, was immediately returned to Western economic control and hasn't recovered its revolutionary momentum since. The pattern is brutally consistent: challenge Western economic interests, and your country gets gutted, looted, and forgotten. The message is clear: African liberation is a death sentence. The reckoning. When Traoré addressed the International Monetary Fund, he didn't deliver diplomatic pleasantries. He delivered a reckoning. They thought we were buried, but they forgot we were seeds. We are not pawns in your economic chess game. We do not ask for permission to breathe. Africa does not owe you, you owe Africa. The speech stripped away diplomatic niceties to reveal modern slavery dressed in suits and spreadsheets. He called IMF economic medicine what it truly is: poison administered with a smile. The purge. Traoré's most audacious move was systematic. September 2022, terminated France's military cooperation. February 2023, expelled French diplomats. March 2023, ended France's cultural programs. Each expulsion came with pointed questions. France, what are you really doing here? If you're here to help, why are our people still poor while your corporations profit? The French response was swift: economic pressure, diplomatic isolation, media campaigns painting Traoré as unstable. But his popularity soared with each French departure. The network, Russian special forces, Wagner Group mercenaries, elite guards, a network of loyalists ready to take bullets. This isn't just protection, it's a statement. The message is clear: the old order is dead, and we're not going back. In July 2023, following the Russia-Africa summit, Traoré announced support for Russia and reopened their embassy, closed since 1992. By January 2024, Russian troops were deployed on Burkina Faso soil. His approach: whoever offers the best deal for Burkina Faso gets our partnership. The revolution. Running a country larger than Britain and the Netherlands combined, Traoré inherited a nation with only 3,000 kilometers of paved roads since 1960, testament to decades of deliberate underdevelopment. Under his leadership, massive road projects connecting rural communities, railroad construction linking the country to regional trade, educational facilities providing free schooling. The agricultural revolution transformed Burkina Faso from food importer to potential regional exporter. Most remarkably, Traoré never raised his own salary. He reduced ministers' salaries by 30% and increased civil servants by 50%. Genuine leadership serves the people, not personal enrichment. The dark side. But let's be real, liberation movements have a nasty habit of eating their own children. While protesters chant for sovereignty, humanitarian organizations report increasing restrictions. Political journalists face exile. Dissidents disappear. The insurgency Traoré promised to crush still rages. Nearly 2 million people displaced by violence. Schools close, hospitals struggle. Promised elections delayed, officially due to security concerns. But critics wonder if power is proving too intoxicating to relinquish. This uncomfortable truth about revolutionary change must be acknowledged. It's messy, violent, and often betrays its own ideals. However, on May 11, 2024, in Ouagadougou, Traoré was poised to step down, but a massive civic mobilization, calling stay, swept through the stadium and capital plazas, compelling him to delay his departure and extend the military-led transition. The outpouring was more than political noise. It was a potent display of public will, rooted in a mixture of nationalism, anti-Western sentiment, and support for Traoré's vision of sovereignty. It marked a pivotal moment where grassroots pressure directly shaped the timing of national leadership, a rare reversal of power in African transitional politics. The stakes. Here's why Western powers obsess over this small landlocked nation. Burkina Faso controls significant gold and uranium reserves, sits at the strategic heart of the Sahel, hosts military bases crucial for counter-terrorism operations, and controls migration routes to Europe. But there's something deeper at play. Traoré represents an existential threat to the entire neocolonial system. If a small, poor country can successfully break free from Western economic control, what stops Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya? The fear in Western capitals isn't about losing Burkina Faso, it's about losing Africa. The audacity is breathtaking. Nations with homeless camps in their capital cities, with bridges collapsing from neglect, with education systems failing their own children, somehow have the moral authority to dictate how Africa should govern itself. It's not about democracy or human rights, it's about control. They want to maintain their stranglehold on African resources while their own societies crumble from within. The equation. Traoré embodies a dangerous combination for established powers: integrity mixed with force. He's not just another African leader making speeches about independence while maintaining colonial relationships. He backs his words with action, his principles with power. This mixture of moral authority and practical capability could revive not just nations, but an entire continent. When African leaders combine genuine commitment to their people with the strength to resist external pressure, they become transformational figures. The question haunting global capitals: can this model be replicated? The verdict. So who is Ibrahim Traoré? Revolutionary liberator or calculating authoritarian? The answer might be both. History's most transformative leaders often walk that razor's edge between salvation and tyranny. The shadow coup continues. Every day Traoré survives another alleged attempt. Every day he maintains power. Every day the gold flows through state-controlled channels instead of colonial pipelines. The world watches and waits. Because this isn't just Burkina Faso's story, it's Africa's story. The revolutionary seeds Thomas Sankara planted in African soil have finally found the right conditions to grow. Whether they bloom into continental liberation or wither under internal contradictions remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Africa is no longer asking for permission to breathe. The age of apology is over. The age of assertion has begun. Ibrahim Traoré may be the most important African leader you've never heard of, but after reading this, you'll never forget his name. And neither will the powers that have spent centuries profiting from African subjugation. The reckoning has begun, and it begins with a 37-year-old captain who dared to say no to 500 years of Western control.